Hey Ratbags, it's Jade. Today talking about the future of Grounded. Is Grounded dead? No, it's not. Even I was starting to doubt and start to think that maybe this update would be one of the major last ones, especially as I saw from an interview and the way that Adam Brennicky was talking during the Casually Grounded, that they were kind of done or happy with the backyard now. But then I came across the mysterious door, and that set me up for a little bit more excitement, and that reassured me a little bit. And then someone pointed out that actually they've already spoken about they're going to be adding even more content in the future. But in my excitement of the hype and the launch of 1.3 going into PTB, I missed the second half of an interview that I was actually going over. To be honest, I can't stand the Windows Central website. It is just filled with huge horrible ads, and it's just not the greatest or best to read. Not a big fan of the guys that run it either. Of course, they are passionate about Microsoft and Xbox stuff, and they have managed to blag an interview with Adam Brennicky, and I ain't gonna lie, I'm pretty jelly of that. I'd love to talk to him. So I read some of this update while we were waiting as they were about to stream and do the Casually Grounded. And in another interview that I did go over, Adam Brennicky did say they were happy with where the backyard was now, and they felt like it was fully fleshed out. Given also the news that yes, the lizard is not coming, Adam Brennicky confirmed this again in the live stream. That yep, it's never happening, the lizard's never coming to the game, and we can only presume all the other creatures and everything else that was kind of leaked, that's not coming either. He confirmed again that the shed was another one of them ideas that just didn't take off, hence why they moved some of it to the Brawny box, but that was pretty much the limit. He also confirmed that weather is not coming to Grounded. So when I was hearing all this stuff, and I hadn't realised the rest of this interview had carried on, it did for once actually have doubt in my mind. Adam Brennicky had said that the game would be supported for a good long time, as long as everyone was happy with him doing it, he wanted to. And we saw that with the last update, where we obviously had the Wasp boss fight and the infected broodmother, but hearing the news that they're kind of done with the backyard as it is now, that definitely set off alarm bells. Once the Make It or Break It update releases to all Grounded players on November the 13th, the Obsidian bound team isn't going to rest on its laurels. Grounded is far from over. The team has a lot of big plans, not only to improve Grounded, but to bring new content and features to the rest of the game too. First though, the team will be listening closely to players on what they can do to improve Playgrounds. Once Playgrounds gets out there and people get time with it and provide feedback, we're going to have to filter through all that to see what the next steps are. But we're definitely going to be adding more to Playgrounds and see where we can take it. There's a list of ideas and plans at Grounded, but I did hear about a few features that are slated for future updates. I happen to stumble upon these by asking the right questions. For example, Obsidian wants to give players more ways to share their creations. We want to add a way to browse through other creations. We have a shareable code, but we'd like to expand on that. So this is something the devs have actually told us in the Creator Discord, that we got given early access to the Playgrounds update. Eventually, Obsidian wants going to have a sort of community marketplace to Forza Horizon 5's event lab, enabling players to browse through shared creations. We may even see featured creations, tags and filters for more powerful searching and more, but that's mostly my personal wish list. We have other crazy ideas that people probably won't even ask for because they have no idea if it's possible or not, Brennicky continued. He wouldn't elaborate what this means, but I'm excited by the possibilities. I did ask Brennicky if there's one feature he personally wants to make sure is added to Playgrounds in the future. He said, "We don't have a very good way of ending and resetting the game," he told me. So providing a way to have a win-lose conditions with a way to reset the game world would be great. That might be coming sooner rather than later. Also note that Grounded team exploring control over creature AI. For now, all spawn creatures will follow their default behaviours. However, Obsidian exploring tools to control creature hostility, pathing and more. If that feature comes, Playgrounds really will have all the scripting tools players need for fully custom adventures. There's a lot of challenges involved with doing this lot of stuff, but we're ready to take on some of these challenges. Right now we've just gotten a lot of the fundamentals working. But here's the bit that survival fans really need to pay attention to. If you might be thinking that Playground sounds like the future of Grounded, I wouldn't blame you. However, Brennicky was quick to inform me that the team has a plethora of other ideas on how to improve the game. We're not done yet, he said, indicating there's a lot more players can expect beyond the Make It or Break It update. There are some teasers in this update of what's to come, I'll leave it at that. They then did talk about the end of Grounded. Brennicky made it clear to me that the team has a basically endless list of ideas for how to make Grounded better, and that list continues to grow over time. Thanks to the community, however, despite Grounded's immense success, over 15 million players according to the last update we got, the game was never intended to extend into perpetuity like other titles such as Minecraft. We never wanted to monetize Grounded outside of buying the game once and playing it and enjoying it, Brennicky said. There will be a stopping point to updates sometime. Then we'll think about next what's Grounded as a whole. Grounded has no microtransactions, pay DLC or any other ways continue funding the game beyond players purchasing it. That was always the plan though, and Obsidian is prepared for it. We're always discussing that when's the right time to move off of Grounded. We still have quite a few more ideas left for Grounded. We talked for a while about the impossibility of deciding when on that list the ideas to say enough and stop updating Grounded. But Brennicky let it be known that the cut-off point of Grounded is still a ways away. Even if that day eventually comes, Grounded isn't finished. The TV show is still in the works, Brennicky reminded him. There's other things happening in the pipeline for the Grounded franchise too, because that's what Grounded has become, a franchise. This isn't a one-off game for Obsidian Entertainment on Xbox. Grounded is here to stay, even after the original Survivor game receives its final update. I go on to talk about other stuff as well, more about Playgrounds and how Adam's looking forward to seeing what people can make. And there we go. So the door is obviously a big tease. My general feeling is this is going to take us to maybe not necessarily a whole brand new backyard, but possibly another dungeon that we'll teleport to. This will stop the issues with memory. And that was something that kind of got my alarm bells ringing, because Adam was stating that a lot of the game at the moment, they're running into trouble, adding more to it because it's just so big, there's so much going on, particularly for older consoles possibly, they're just running out of RAM and space. So the door to me represents obviously the most easiest opportunity to have something behind it that will take us somewhere else. Conan Exiles has done this to good effect in the past. If you actually go into a dungeon in Conan Exiles, it's not there underneath the map, the dungeon. It's actually located miles away in another corner of the game completely. You literally teleport to it. This way they can streamline, they can save on memory, and effectively have the game running smoother. In a way, I do wish they would consider actually having paid DLC. It was something that I muted because we found the game files that listed stuff like a lizard fight and all the rest of it was actually situated in files called DLC. Then I made a video about it and I made a video about possibility of microtransactions, and I did get it wrong. Eric re-informed me of this, that they got no plans to monetize the game like that. Which is nice to hear. You look at so many other games that just want to rip you off for the most baseless rubbish skins, crap battle passes, or just DLC that's maybe not always that fleshed out. But if there's one game I would absolutely love to support with DLC, it would be Grounded. If they were to say, hey, we're going to do a DLC, we're going to make it paid, and it's going to be a completely brand new backyard, brand new storyline, effectively a mini Grounded 2, would you pay $15, $20 for that? I absolutely would in a heartbeat. I want to support good games being made, and for sure I would love to support Grounded by buying DLC in the future. But that's where we're at. Obviously there will be updates after this Make It and Break It. Survival fans, yes, you may be unhappy now, but there is going to be additions and content for you for sure. They are going to be doubling down on this playground content as well, and I would expect the next update to be half and half a little bit more. I know they've got plans for Grounded obviously with the playgrounds, possibly new sandboxes, and that might be what they're also doing. I said about having DLC that takes you to another yard, but what if the doorway is actually taking you to another yard? Not just one dungeon, but actually something more substantial. That to me would be definitely more of a DLC thing. But as we've heard them say, they're not looking to add or pay for that. I would be surprised if it was that big, if it was that whole other yard. Where does it fit in the story? Well, obviously we've seen the teleporters in the sandbox mode, in the playgrounds mode. Adam has spoken about having something like that in the past, although we all assumed it would be something like fast travel. But instead it fits in narratively that obviously Omnant have made this technology, or Wendell has. And if you take a look at the last slate of, obviously when you complete the game, after defeating Schmector, you get this list of stuff. A lot of the stuff listed is pretty much in the game already. Spacer replication, embiggening research, the Oolish grid mapping we assume is the map of the backyard, Raisin Serum, the Raisin Teen Trials, Project Orc, and the Prototube hydration is how you make the teens basically not die when they get made small or big. The micro storage stabilizer, again, that's all part of it. You see some mentions or references to some of this stuff in the data notes as you go through the game. The biomicro triangulation is your basically watch. The things we don't know about are the Dark Null Hypercore, the Rift Exploratory Squad, and Humongous. Now, clearly, something called Rift Exploratory means there's a rift somewhere in Grounded, and some squad has gone to explore it. dark null hypercore. That sounds very scientific. And what if that's the science that makes up the rift opening and closing? And what if it takes us somewhere where eventually we might take on the humongous, a brand new boss? Sometimes games do put little hints and teasers in, and they don't always come to fruition, as we've seen from the Lizard and the other stuff that's not coming. But that stuff was never really added to the game, whereas this is in the game. So this is our best bet for actually what's going to be next in terms of survival. And that's what I think's lying behind that door. Instead of just the smarty pants potato chef, it will take us to some new dungeon, some new area where we get to explore and see and maybe battle against the humongous. If they do end up doing Grounded 2, I'm totally down for that. If they decide to make other Grounded games set in the universe, I'll be down for that. I could well imagine a Minecraft Dungeons style game with Grounded, fighting a billion bugs as you go through from a top-down perspective. But since they're D&D nerds, more than likely we could see something like pretty much a turn-based game. The possibilities are endless, and Grounded could be a big franchise for sure. So yes, this 1.3 update isn't going to be for everyone. And you may feel hard done by, but I am just going to keep repeating it. If they only ever just add small bits and bobs for us to do, they are going to get to that problem where they're just running out of things, out of space, out of memory. Well, they might be able to squeeze something like this in that might take us away from the backyard possibly. How many times can they really fit that into the story? So if they don't have Playgrounds mode around, it does feel like the end of Grounded will actually be a lot sooner. I'd rather be able to play and make my own creations or play others while I'm waiting for a sequel or a substantial big expansion if they ever change their mind. I've had a few crappy comments from some real haters of the game seemingly. They don't get their own way and that's it, they start throwing their toys out the pram. And within that I get accused of being some weird fanboy or I'm a shill for Grounded. And 100% I absolutely am. Sadly I don't get paid for it because that would be an extra bonus. I'm doing this for free. If you've seen my new channel Arc Ascended, I've been basically retouching my roots. I became a YouTuber by covering the original Arc, and that was on my main channel, and that's what brought me success and actually made me a full-time YouTuber. I took a break from that game though because it was just so poorly made, so poorly balanced, a terrible publisher and a dev team that just always kind of let people down and overhype stuff. It's literally two sides of a coin. Here I get accused of being too negative, too harsh, and basically just being a grouch. And it's always interesting and funny to me that that's the perception. Bottom line, if there's a game I enjoy, if there's a game I see being made well, I am going to support that game. I will shout it, I will cheer it, and I will defend it. If you come at Grounded or the devs and you're rude, insulting, or just plain horrible, I will tell you exactly where or what you are. I can be a bit harsh with it for sure, but that's just the way I am. And I will continue doing that. I think Grounded is one of the best games I've played. And when I line it up against what I'm experiencing with Arc again, it just shows you the difference in devs that really care about their game, want it to succeed without having to milk players for money. So effectively, please, take a moment. Step outside what you want in terms of a boss or a new creature. Look at what Grounded has done for a small team. And I just appreciate the work that's gone into making one of the best survival games going. Because trust me, there's a lot of worse games out there. And that's it, Ratbags. Who knows when we're going to get them updates and content. I wouldn't obviously expect it until next year now. But yeah, I can pretty much guarantee the next update will be a mix of playground stuff and more maybe story stuff. Until next time, laters.